Hi everyone, welcome back to the secret little bonsai garden. It is September 12th. I am in the northern hemisphere, climate zone 10B, and I'll be talking about fall strategy. Up until now, if you see my bonsai 101 course, I've been talking a lot about theory. I will be talking about things that are more specific to trees in development on early stages, not so much refinement. And this is my personal take on what to do in fall and considering the goals I want to achieve. So fall is a great opportunity to work with trees. Probably the second most important of the year, being the first that is spring, and in some cases I would say that fall is actually a very strong season to prepare the next spring, and where you can do a lot of work depending on what you're looking for. So what can we do in fall? We have things like heavy bending, heavy pruning, wiring, pest and disease control, fertilization, and I believe those are the main ones. So up until now, I've been prepping the materials that I need for fall, and most of the things that I needed was tools and a lot of wire. I buy wire from 1 millimeter to 4 millimeters mostly. 1 millimeter, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, and then I have a few of 6 millimeters, 7, 8 millimeters for when I need to do some heavy bendings. I'm not going to talk specifically about wiring. I think that there's so much material on the web that you can research on your own, and they'll probably be better. They'll have better explanations that I could ever do in a single video. This video is going to be a little long because I am going to go through some of the trees, or most of the trees, so that visualization of the tree would allow a better understanding of what I'm saying. Fall is a time when the tree is getting ready for winter and to push in spring. What's happening in fall is that the tree is starting to accumulate starches and sugars, storing that energy so that it gives winter hardiness, and then it utilizes those sugars and starches in spring to bring the new growth. So we have to consider a few things. For example, if you're planning on repotting in spring, you shouldn't be doing a heavy trimming on your tree, because you're just weakening the tree in a period that it's accumulating energy to let go in spring. And by repotting in spring again, you're cutting the roots. It doesn't have that push of the shoots, and consequently it doesn't have that the oxygen produced in the shoots to produce new roots. So it doesn't have that energy to recover. So what I'm saying is that you have to put on a scale and see, am I going to repot in spring? Then I'm going to be conservative on the work that I'm doing in fall. I'm not going to repot in spring, then I can go full blast and go ahead and do all the heavy bendings and trimmings. When I'm talking about pruning, trimming, heavy bending, I would say that if you're not repotting, maybe you can even go in a healthy tree on a reduction of foliar mass up to 50%. I've done it for sure, and I've done more, but I would say that in a healthy tree, probably 50% is a good number. If you're planning on repotting, you can still do some work. You can still do some trimming or heavy bending, or removing a branch or two, or what do you need. But I would keep it on a lower reduction of foliar mass, maybe up to 20%, or the minimum that you can do, and also depending on if your tree is growing like a crazy Einstein like I have here, or has your tree not been growing. Is your tree healthy or not? If your tree is not healthy, then you shouldn't actually be doing anything. So let's see, we when we do fall work, we're always planning on what will we do next. Actually, we're always doing that, but especially in particular fall, it's extremely important that you understand what is your goals next year. Are you developing your tree? Are you recovering health in your tree? Do you want ramification? Do you want a lot of foliar mass? Do you want what do you want? So the other thing that fall is extremely important is that it's actually a good time to fertilize. And I'm not talking about heavy fertilization. I'm talking about using a moderate fertilizer on low numbers. If I'm not wrong, I use NPK 574, and I use and I recommend that you use organic slow release fertilizer. I put it in tea bags. That allows me to control where I place it in the tree. You're going to be able to see it, and it also enables me to remove it when I want to remove it. Normally, I would say that you can leave it 4 to 8 weeks. If I apply fertilizer 8 weeks, that means that I would apply it twice. I apply every month. I apply a new round of bags. Depending if you want your tree to grow a lot in spring, you can do 1 application or 2 applications, even 3 applications. I'm in Southern California, so the weather is pretty mild. On my junipers, if I want development, I actually fertilize through the winter. So I do quite a fertilization. When it comes, for example, to maples, you want to be a little more conservative. You don't want to push growth, so I still fertilize, but in the maple situation, I use bags with a teaspoon fertilizer, and on the junipers I use bags with a tablespoon of fertilizer. On the maples I will just do 1 application, and on the junipers I'll do 1, 2, 3, whatever I need, depending if I want the tree to just really give me a nice boost of growth in spring. When it comes to pest and disease control, it is a great time to work preventively. Most fungus or pests will actually develop during fall, winter with the moist humidity, and then will reflect in spring. So you do want to do a preventive care. I am not an expert on that, but I'll tell you this. First you have to consider that there's a bacterial and fungi ecosystem in your soil that you don't want to affect. I'm talking about good bacteria, good fungi that you want to keep alive. So there's applications that will kill and will have a negative impact on your tree. And I used to use systemic granules, and I was advised not to use it because those actually impact that balance. So I was watching a video of Mirai Live a couple nights ago, and without investigating a lot, what I understood is that Ryan Neal uses nematodes for pests and uses lime sulfur for fungus. So nematodes, I believe, they go in the soil, and the lime sulfur will be a spray application. Again, I'm not an expert on that. I'm going to dig into it, and I might make a new video about it. I have to research on the Mirai Live library because I know that they have that information for sure. So another product that I've been using, because I did had some diseases this year, and I think it's working. And I also heard Ryan Neal talking about it. Is this product 3336? It is a systemic. It is a systemic fungicide, and the application is by spraying. And I have the Bonsai, the lime sulfur. I don't really know if this is a broad spectrum fungicide, how it works, but I'll definitely have those three in consideration. I have to research about nematodes. I have to research about lime sulfur, what is it specifically for, and I have the 3336 that I believe I can use in everything, but and it's a broad spectrum and it's systemic, which is wonderful, but I'm not completely sure of these things, so please do some research on that. I would advise though to not disregard the pests and disease control preventively, because every year I think that I got it under control in the beginning of spring, in the middle of spring, and then it gets to summer and I start seeing a little bit of black spots, curly leaves, and mostly that's because I thought that I didn't have to apply products after doing a fall intervention and a spring intervention with the fungicide and the pesticides. I thought that it would last until the following fall. It turns out that maybe I would have to think about a preventive way application every month or every couple months, because it hasn't really worked perfectly, and you'll be able to see that some trees are a little affected by that, not so much as the first year that I had bonsai. So we talked about what's your goals, if it's repotting or not next spring, what does it mean in terms of interventions this fall, pests and disease, fertilization. What else do we have? I would say if you live in a cold area, you have to think that this season that the sugars and the starches are being accumulated, creating thickness of the trunks also, are fundamental to go over the winter. So if you work your trees and you're in a cold environment, you'll probably need to protect that tree in a greenhouse or a heated garage, so that it doesn't freeze and die over the winter, especially if you have snow. In my case, my weather is very moderate and very forgiving, so I don't have to worry. I can work my trees and I wouldn't worry with hardiness at all. Right, so let's look at what I have tree by tree. This tree was repotted 2019 spring. It was let to grow like this crazy Einstein hair to create thickness. If I want more thickness, I should leave it alone, so that during this period of thickening with the starches and the sugars that the tree is accumulating, the trunk starts getting stuck, fusing with the dead wood. This is a tanuki, obviously. I started already some wiring, and I had to stop because I didn't really have a lot of time. But I'm trying to be a little conservative, trying to leave as much as foliar mass that I can, so that I have a little more thickening and the tree is still healthy and will produce a lot of growth in next spring. I'm not going to repot it. I might correct the position in the pot. I might do a split pot if the tree is healthy, but we're talking about a split pot. I'm not going to touch the roots at all, although it might be hard on this tree, so I really have to think about this. I might just leave it alone and just style it. The seed was will storage those sugars and starches by getting all those pigments from the leaves, absorbing that energy and storing energy in the tree, and then lose their leaves. So I would say that it is a good time to wire in early fall without removing foliar mass, and or after when the leaves start falling, you can actually trim in wire also. But if you wire in early fall, you have to be really careful because the branches will be thickening and the wire might bite, and you really don't want that. And so in my opinion, I rather wait until late fall and see those leaves falling, and that's my tip, that I can start working and wire, trim, get those ramifications to be nice and splitting into two, and get some nice ramification. Here I have a weak tree. It had some pests, so I'm not gonna do anything. Same around here, when these Chinese elms lose their leaves, I'll be just rewiring and trimming and getting it back into shape. But right now I need all the leaves that they have to storage that energy necessary for the spring. If you take a look at the fertilizer, these are the new bags. I leave the old ones so I know in which position I'm going to place the other ones. I'm rotating every time I place a new bag. I place it in a different spot so that all the root mass gets that fertilizer, that NPK that it needs. I can now remove this if I want, and I will. I just wanted to show you that where to place. How do I find out where should I place? Well, I should place where I don't have anymore. If I have it around, I'll place it over here, I'll place it over here, I'll place it over there where I didn't have it last time. So these trees are not going to be repotted. I can work them in a later fall. Not going to be repotted. This I can give it some work. This will be repotted, so I'm not even going to touch it. This tree is already repotted, and I'm going to have to trim and wire for sure, so I can work later fall. This tree I'm actually going to repot it into this guy. So I don't want to trim back, I don't want to touch this tree. I just want to let it absorb all that energy, stay just like it is, give it a repot in spring, and then let it get back to health. This tree is not going to be repotted, needs a lot of styling. This guy over here has some crazy hair going on. I'm still not sure if I want to repot already. I think I am, because I have thickness. The tree is healthy, showing growth. So if I'm going to repot, I'm not going to touch the foliar mass at all. This tree I already worked it this year. It's a windswept, so I'm going to lean in the camera like this. I leave it like this because I want the foliar mass to grow in direction of the sun and not grow like, vertical. So I lean the tree in a way that it doesn't get vertical, it gets a little more in that windswept direction. It was already worked, as I said, so I should not repot in spring. I'm not gonna touch it. I just want it to recover, let it go. In spring, I'm not gonna trim anything. I'm just gonna let that spring growth go on, and then in the early summer, I'll work it again. This tree needs some trimming and some wiring. I'm not going to repot, so I can style it. This, I kind of want to repot it, so I might not even touch the branches and the green. These are my air layers from 2019 from the mother tree, which is there. And if you can see, originally the branch I air layered was about my pinky thickness, would be something like this guy. And take a look at the development he already had. So what's going on? I haven't really touched most of the branches. I did one cut here and there. Let me see if I can find one. Let's see. Okay, you see here, I cut it. And why? If I leave that branch elongating, in fall the branch thickens with a foliar mass, and it would create a lot of thickening over here, which I don't want to. So in late summer I just cut a few branches that I didn't want to get thickness, preventing that. Nevertheless, the trees are in development. I don't want to touch more than that. I want them to thicken in the main trunk. I want to thicken more than this, and that's what I'm looking for. I could wire, I could do a lot of things, but no, I just want this tree to develop. I want it to explode in spring, and I want to do a 1 or 2 or 3 partial defoliations. And when I say 1 or 2 or 3, I really mean it. Ryan Neal explains that if you perform partial defoliation in the right time, you can actually do it a few times a year, and the tree will not suffer that much compared to full defoliations. And wrong, I don't want to say wrong ways of doing defoliation, but the way he does it, it seems like it really works and doesn't weaken the tree that much. Or at least if you perform the partial defoliation that year, maybe next year you won't do it, and the tree will get the health it needs back. I'll have a video of that later in late spring next year. This tree is a little weak. Got a lot of sunburn. I'm just leaving it alone. I will be trying to probably just trim thin and get nicer ramification after when leaves are falling. I have a little tree here that started growing in this pot, and I'm gonna repot it for sure, or I'm gonna try to, so I'm not gonna touch it. And this is the mother tree of the air layers that it is quite weak, so I'm not even touching this tree. What did I do? I chopped this branch because I don't want it to thicken. I did the same over here. I don't want more thickness in those guys, but I do have to say that it is weak. Another one that I wired, and I'm going to repot. This is also a tree that is weak. I'm not gonna touch it. That tree is pretty strong. I might actually repot it, but I'm still trying to decide that. These are maple seedlings. They will have most likely a slip pot, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm looking to get health, thickness, and development, so I might not touch it at all. What I just want is just leave it as it is, raw, to get thickness and be able to work next year. These are maple seedlings forest that I'm trying, experimenting. As you see, they're super tall. There's not a lot of thickness, but with this fall situation of getting those starch sugars, it's natural that the trunks will start thickening, and that's exactly what I want. I don't want to chop anything. I don't want to work anything until the leaves fall and all those sugars and starches go down, and it gains thickness. This tree is pretty healthy. I think I'm going to repot, so I'm not going to trim back. I might just do some wiring because it needs. These are a couple tanukis that I made this year. They have recovered so well. They have a lot of foliar mass. I am not going to repot because I just made the tanukis this year, but I will for sure work on the foliar mass, wire, do some nice bendings, and get these trees ready for 2021 repot. This tree is not going to be repotted. There's a lot of growth, so I can go ahead and wire trim and getting it shape back again. It is a tanuki, another tanuki, same situation. Another tanuki, same situation. This tree will be amazing once I work on it. It's very linear right now, very, you know, upright, formal, but it has some twists, it has some nice life gain. I am going to repot it or sleep pot it, putting that live vein in that side. I'm going to reduce a lot in this side and get some deadwood features, just get the foliar mass close to the main trunk, and mostly leave it on the other side. It's gonna be very asymmetrical and pretty different than what it is right now. I really love it right now, but I'm gonna change that. This tree was repotted this spring. It shows a lot of health. There's a lot of shoots that will explode in spring. So if I repot in the early spring that year, so I'm talking about spring 2020, I repotted this tree. If this tree shows health in fall, then I think I can say that I'm okay with working it. I'm okay with reducing probably 30% of the foliar mass, style it, do some heavy bendings, and that is the case right now. I don't want to wait until the fall of 2021. So since I'm not repotting in 2021, I did a repot 2020 spring, and I'm going to actually style it in 2020 again this year. This tree, I'm going to have an air layer over here, remove this. My goal is actually take this shoot, bend it all the way down and put it here. I want to repot it, but I don't think I should. I think I need to develop this first because I'm going to do an air layer. So I gotta do the air layer, I gotta remove the air layer next year, and I gotta let this develop in order for me to have shoots and oxygen production to be able to have a successful repot. And if you took a look at my benches, I have pots underneath the trees that I want to repot already. So during the whole year, I'm always looking for pots, and with time, you can do a better selection of your purchases, and you can start planning and see if you have enough supplies for the next spring repot. I do the same for soil. I buy soil slowly, and it works for me. I don't have to spend immensely a huge amount of money. This was done in 2020. It's not going to be repotted. It has a bunch of foliar mass. It's a group of 3, and I will definitely be styling and bending and working on this tree. This guy was done this year, 2020. I am looking to repot it, so I'm not going to touch this tree. I'm just going to let it be healthy, and in spring repot, and then I will trim again in early summer once the tree recovered from the root pruning that I have to make. And this is the part that it's going to go into. This is a forest. This forest it's not weak, but it's not strong. I've already worked on it. I've already wired a little too early, so I might just not do anything. I might just do some cleaning up the bottom of branches and something around there, like 10 to 20% of work, foliar mass reduction, but I don't want to do more. I needed to recover a lot of energy in spring. And as you can see, this is very raw. There's a lot of weeds. This is what a garden looks like. Sometimes we see all those perfect trees, but we have to be realistic that during the year you're not going to always have perfect, beautiful looking trees. This tree is in development. It has 2 branches that I left growing uncontrolled to get some thickness in the trunk, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a feminine looking juniper with a a guide branch, a main branch going down this way, and just a lot of mass on this side, a little mess on that side, and probably is gonna go on an oval pot since it's more of a feminine looking curvy kind of tree. Here I have a tree that I have a video on my channel. It's going to be repotted in spring. It was already wired and styled in the late summer or early summer I believe. You can watch my video with the transformation. It's going to go on that pot, and I will not touch it in fall at all. I will just be fertilizing to get that nice growth recovery in the spring. This is not going to be repotted. Obviously was already styled this year. It's just recovering. I'm not going to touch it. We'll let it grow again and get healthy, let that spring growth grow until summer, and then in summer I'll work in it again. At some point I'll have to remove the wires. Same thing here, the wires been there for a little, and although I can let the wires bite on junipers because they recover and without scars, I don't want to leave it for too long. This tree was repotted in 2020, and I'm ready to style it again. I have a little video of it in my channel, and you can see how much it grew during this year. It's not amazingly healthy, but it's definitely ready for wiring and just a little bit of thinning. This tree is ready for some styling. It's not going to be repotted. It already has a nice pot, so it'll be styled pretty soon. This guy was styled also in I think early summer. It's recovering well. I can see a lot of growth. It's gonna pop up in spring. It might be a little too weak. I want to put it in this spot, and that is a huge mass reduction, I believe. I'll have to decide. I'm not going to work and I'm going to touch it. I'll have to see how it reacts during the winter and during the following winter, because it's so mild here. I believe I'm going to have a lot of growth still, and I might be able to make that decision and just repot it. This tree was worked this year already. I don't need to do anything right now in fall. I wanted to get full and then style back again in summer 2021. Over here I have raw material, and this tree is not going to be repotted. I want to style it first, so this tree will have a lot of transformation. This is a tree that I got in 2019. I look at it and I see very thin trunk, not interesting. I'm not sure about the Nabari. It has the right shape already because I wired it. I know that it had a ton of growth. I don't want to work on this tree because I need thickness on the trunk, so I want those sugars and starches. I want all the green that it has to drop those sugar starches and get some thickness there. If I'm going to do anything, I might split pot just to get more root growth, more health next year, better soil, and I don't know. 2021 it will grow again some thickness in the fall, and probably will be only repotted like 2022. So this is the decision process that I go through. What do I want? Health, development, thickness, and I act accordingly. If I want thickness, I cannot reduce foliar mass. If I'm going to repot, I cannot perform too much in the tree, and always plan ahead. This is a forest that I actually wanted to repot this year, 2020 spring. It wasn't possible because two trees were weak, so I made the decision of just let them recover. Fortunately, they recovered pretty well. There's a lot of growth. I want to wire it and get those branches in a downward position so that it backbuds, but I cannot reduce more foliar mass. I need that foliar mass to recover, to be able to repot in the spring and to be able to get that root regeneration and get it back to healthy. This guy was repotted this year, was actually a air layer. He has about 70 to 80% of deadwood. It is a simple orange tree. I am not touching this tree. I'm just fertilizing and getting some health, and hopefully in spring it has a lot of growth. Same with this one, but this one was repotted in 2019. The tree is pretty weak. It had some pests and diseases issues that I was taking care of. It had some growth already, which is a good sign, but I can't touch it at all. It's too weak, and if you don't have health in your tree, you really shouldn't do anything except trying to boost the health by, if it's pest or diseases, controlling that, and moderate fertilization. I mean, I'm not sure about that. I'm not gonna go there. I have a rosemary here that I'm gonna lift in spring. I'm not gonna touch this tree. I'm just gonna let it be wild, but I will take it off this thing because it actually is pretty loose, and that is a great sign. Another thing that I will do now in early fall is cutting the air layers that I've done. I wasn't able to cut the air layers in the summer because the temperature here goes to 100, 110, 120, and you really can't cut an air layer with those kind of temperatures. It's gonna die probably. So it's just getting a lot of root mass. And now that the temperature is cooling down below 95s, I would say that 85s would be ideal. That's when I'm gonna put the air layer, and I hope it makes it. We'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you understand what I tried to explain. I hope that these will seeing the trees and what actions I'm going to be doing or not gives a better idea of how to make that decision. And don't forget to play with what the tree is telling you, how the energy of the tree is going. We know that in spring the tree is energy positive, it's putting growth out. In fall the energy is negative, it's absorbing energy, so that next spring would put growth out again. So we have to understand those nuances and understand what goals you have, and understand also if your tree is in a healthy stage, it's in development, or it's in refinement. That I'm not going to approach that right now because this is a video for beginners just like me. You guys have a great day, and I will try to do a follow-up every season, every time I make decisions and every time I perform interventions in my trees. Thank you so much, and stay safe.